If you wanna stay with me, if you wanna try, maybe you could be with me, but only for the night.
Hey everybody, welcome back to the Board Game Specialist. I am Melanie.
And I'm Carla.
And today we are doing our top 9 game. Now we decided on the title, Following Games. This was a working thing because we couldn't come up with a mechanism. So it was almost top 9 game where one person does something and the other one gets to do it as well. So
or
this
equal
is so
or
much
a little
better.
bit lesser.
Yeah, and it was funny, there has to be a name for this mechanism. And we're checking, and we thought it was action drafting, which it wasn't. That's why we did that as our last episode. And we got looking on Board Game Geek, because Board Game Geek never disappoints. And I guess it's called Following. So top 9 following game is what we're doing this. I'm my phone, my camera's off, tilt a little bit, but that's what we're doing. Now also, if you missed my post, we're a week late posting this. Oh, let me take this off. Hold on. I got a thing on the bottom there that I didn't realize was showing. Let's take that off. Perfect. So we're a week late doing this podcast because it was crazy. I texted Carla. I was like, Carla, I'm so sorry. I can't get it done this week. She's like, oh, it's not due for another week. And I'm like, our last episode was 13 days ago. So she's
I lost a week in
what?
time.
And it's just been so crazy at my work. We've been doing tons of overtime because we kind of basically, what my role right now is, I test and new software that are getting developed and kind of rolled out into different departments at my work. We've got 3 or 4 different things going on at the same time right now. So it's been crazy busy working evenings and weekends. And I was just I can't get it done. I haven't got to play a whole lot. So it's been brutal. Now you've got to play more than I have.
Been super busy too. I'm working at the golf course for the summer, and we are closing. We actually are officially closed now. So this last month, because it's a seasonal job, a lot of the younger people needed to find other jobs. So there was only a few skeleton crew left. So I was working quite a bit. But I still managed to squeeze in games because I really missed playing a lot of games in July, August. And buying games as well. And so now I'm catching up. If you look on our Discord, I'm posting the games I'm buying and playing, and
I've had a lot of
out of control, but I'm just catching up from July and August.
And you did too. We've had a lot of new games show up.
Yeah.
A bunch of mine are still on my table in shrink. I haven't got to open them. It's been bad. Okay, we need to play. We need to play more. Although my brother's supposed to come over someday this week because he's not working right now. Yeah. And he's his contract with the one that he's done. He's well, and I'm going on a vacation next month, so I'm not going to look yet. So I was like, well, you should come play with me. And he's like, oh, sure. So I was okay. So he's going to be coming over sometime this week. So that should get me a couple of games in. Make sure no overtime that week. But this week we are doing our top 9 following games. So basically, following games means that a player will get to do an action and the other players get to follow that same action or part of it or of some sort. Does that sound about right?
Yes.
Perfect. Now, before we get into our top 9 games, and actually I've tested Carla. I was like, how many crossovers do you think we'll have? I put the presentation together. I already know. And her guess is between 1 and 2. So we'll see how that compares. But before we get into that, we're going to talk a little bit about what we've played lately. So Carla, tell me, what have you been playing lately?
So I got a game from Board Game Bliss. I had been watching this game on Kickstarter, and I almost backed. There's a 4-pack of all play games.
Mm-hmm.
And I've never backed their Kickstarters. I usually just buy some of the games that seem interesting to me when they come out. So I missed this one, but I ended up picking up Ruins. Now, this one is a John D. Clare game, who is one of both of our
Yes.
top designers. We love most, if not all, his games. And he is famous for the card crafting mechanism. So that's where you have cards that are in sleeves, and then you're going to add translucent cards on top of those cards to change up the card. And this does that as well, but it does it in a different way than he usually kind of does his games. His first one was Mystic Veil,
Mm.
where it was like a deck builder, but you never ever changed the amount of cards you had, but you could add to your cards each, like you could upgrade them kind of thing. And it played like quite a bit different than this. This is like a ladder climbing game, card shedding
Okay.
ladder climbing game, and you have cards depending on player count from 0 to, I think it can go to 15 maybe with the full player count. I've only played with, did I play with two? Just three players so far. So then you would take out those higher numbers, and if there's three players, you're going to have one of each of those number per player. So if it was, I don't know, remember if we went to 12, but then there would be 3 12s, 3 11s, and so on, every number. And then you're going to shuffle those all up, and you deal out, we played with 9 per player for 3 player count. And then you're going to sort your cards, because you're just playing sets. You're not playing runs in this type of shedding game, which is usually typical in one. You can usually do both. But this one is strictly sets, so it's quite an easy learn. But the neat thing is the cards also have a back to them. So they have a day and a night. And in the first round, everybody gets to upgrade one of their cards to night. So they take one of the cards, pull it out of the sleeve, and flip it over. And it's a different number, and it might have a little ability on it. Now, then you're going to just play the game out like a normal, like, Uno shedding game where you're going to, well, I guess it's not like Uno, but you're just trying to get rid of your cards, basically. And so if I played 1 1 down, then everyone else would have to play a single, and they could either match the one or they could play a higher number. Now, if somebody played the same number, the person after them skips their turn. And
Oh.
according to the rules, they're out of that round too. Once they've passed, like, because you've made them pass, so they can't
Oh,
get back
okay.
in the round. So it's kind of mean, but we tried to look that up and Google it and everything to see if are they really out of the round, because it's super mean, but it says that when I Googled it. Anyway, and then if you were to play a higher number, then the next player can go on, and so on. And it doesn't just go around one round, it keeps going until everybody has passed and it gets back to you, and you have we're the last one who played the card. Then the cards we put aside, and you keep playing until somebody goes out. Now, when somebody goes out, they are going to get 5 points. And there's like a little it's like a scoreboard, and so you'll move your little tracker down to 5. The second player, and this isn't a 3-player game, will get 3 points, and the third player gets nothing. Now, throughout the game, there's all these translucent cards you can purchase to upgrade your cards as you're playing them. So if somebody put 2 2s down and I had a 3 and a 1, but in the market there's a +2 in there, I could buy that, put it on my 1, and now I have 2 3s and I can play them. Now
Oh,
you
I
have
see.
these
Yeah.
little 3 lanterns, and those are your money basically. So you have basically $3, and the cards cost either 1, 2, or 3. So if I spent, all 3 of them, that's all I have for the round. Unless I play a card that shows a lantern and it'll let me flip it back, and then I have that dollar again to spend. Now, the neat thing is some of these cards will either add to the total of the card, they'll make the card be a duplicate of itself. So it could just be, if I had a 10 and I put it in there and now I have 2 10s. It could be a question mark, which is a copy, and it can copy anything that I play it with. So if I had 2 10s and played this 3 with the question mark, now I have 3 10s. It's really neat because when you look at your cards, there's so many things you can do instead of just I didn't get dealt very good cards.
Mm-hmm.
It's The lower cards sometimes will have abilities on them already when they're flipped because they're lower. You can add different things. You can add a card that makes the person who has the least amount of cards pick up a card. So if they're almost out and you play that card, they have to pick one up, and it might, be helpful to their hand, but it might be terrible for their hand. You can also play one that you can pick up and then discard one if there's one you don't really want in there. There's just so many ways to change up and manipulate your cards. Now, you also have these everybody has 2 ownership translucent cards that they get to place in one of the cards that they're playing. And if it's like a really juicy one that's been upgraded a couple times, because it can be upgraded 3 times. There's a red, a blue, and a yellow. And they're kind of different lengths of the card. So you can see, like, you couldn't have 2 pink upgrades because they just cover up each other. But if you could have the 3 upgrades in one card, and then if you saw that card and had it and played it, you're like, I want to own that card. So you're going to put your color of ownership, and you have these little banners on the top. So I'd put my little green banner in there. And then when that round is over and we deal out the cards, if somebody else gets that card, they have to give it to me because it's my card.
Oh, do they get to get another card in return, or they're
don't.
just down one card?
They're down one, which is kind of helpful for them because it's
I
less cards
suppose
to get rid of, right? But
Right.
you have this really juicy card, so it's just such a cool game. I taught this to my 2 non-gamerish friends, and they really liked it. They both
Nice.
ordered me a copy, and at the time it was on sale at Bliss for $12.50. I don't know why this went on sale. It's a new game.
Keep an eye on Bliss. They get some wicked deals.
Yeah, it was after you ordered. I would have definitely told you about it.
Man, of course.
I'm like, why is this game on sale? It's so good. Like it's
not a super pricey game to begin with.
No, it was only
anyways.
$20, I think.
Yeah, it's 20,
or 25. Yeah, it's not a crazy price, but it is awesome. It's the best shedding game I've played so far, and I've played a lot.
Nice.
And you just got this, so
I got my copy. It's sitting right over here. Haven't played it yet. I ordered that one in Alibis, which I also haven't played yet. Story of my life. But I'm looking forward to it.
Yes, it's awesome. And I think it'll play even better with a higher player count. But I think it'll even be a decent 2-player game because you're just, you can change up the cards. You don't know what's going to happen. And yeah, no, it's really cool. I really enjoyed it. So yeah, that's Ruins.
That's amazing. I'm glad it's sitting on my table.
Yeah.
And this is a small game. Like, I'll just show you. Like, it's
those square
small
all-play
games.
Yeah.
Honestly, All Play has been a hit after hit after hit for me. So when I see their game, it's almost like, yeah, I'm in every time. All right. Lately, I haven't been playing a lot, but we did play a few times. And it's been more in like party setting environment, large group of people playing kind of just fun, silly games. And this is a game that had been sent to me by Rio Grande Game. I had kind of looked at it real quick and I was like, I think I will love this. And I really did. And this game is called It's a Balloon. And it's a drawing game. And what's unique about this one is the clue giver, the one who's giving the clues, is also the one who's drawing. But they keep their drawing secret. And what you do is you describe what you're drawing as you're drawing it so that everybody has to draw the same thing as you. And when they have an idea of what they're drawing, they can be like, oh, okay, they write what they think the answer is. And then they can grab, there's a golden cylinder or a silver cylinder for like bonus points. And if they guess correctly, they get more points. So this was an example when we played this over the weekend. So I was like, okay, draw a line over the umbrella because you have these symbols on your dry erase board so that you can use that as like guidelines. I was like, so draw a line above the umbrella, and then before you reach the hand, go down, wrap around the hammer, wrap around the octopus, go up, but don't circle the headset, and then connect to your line above the umbrella. So I'm going to get them to create that. It's like, now in the middle of that, draw a circle. So you draw circles. Inside that circle, draw a bunch of little circle around the edges. And you're trying to figure out what are we drawing here? Right? So there's been times where it's like, oh, okay, I get it. And you got it's like, and then or sometimes you're looking at it, I'm like, I have no idea. This could be a floor, it could be a prison. It could be like, I don't know what this is. And you're the one drawing it as well. But this is a really interesting communication game. Like, you really need to be clear in explaining what you're drawing. And because sometimes okay, now beneath that, put a couple of lines. Now, are they vertical or are they horizontal? That's going to make a big difference. And if you're not explaining that properly, then sometimes like, what is this? We laughed so hard playing this game. We've played this again and again, and it's just such a hoot. Like, it's so fun. And that is It's a Balloon.
Cool. This one is on sale at Board Game Bliss as well.
Oh, so worth it.
Yep.
Yeah, so yeah, everybody should pause the video now. Go order your own copy. This is so much fun. We've been loving it. All righty, so that's what we've played lately. Now we're going to get into our top 9 following games, starting with Carla for your number 9 position.
All right. My number 9 is Tiny Towns. Now this one is like you could play it as a type of bingo-like where you just flip cards and that's a drafting way, or you can play it where the active player chooses which resource to gather, and then everybody else gathers that same resource, and you have this 4x4 grid, like player board, and you're trying to build all these different buildings that will enact with each other and score the most points possible. But you have all these different resources. There's quite a few, so I won't name them all, but they come in colored cubes. So let's say the glass is like a teal blue. So if you chose a piece of glass, you would place it anywhere on your board, and everybody else would take a piece of glass and place it on your board. What you're trying to do is make these different shaped like patterns of these cubes that form a building that you're trying to build. And it's not 3D, it's just flat, so you're not building up. But once, say I needed to build like a cottage and I had the formation of the cottage, then I will take all those cubes off and grab the actual cottage, which it's all wooden buildings, and I would place that on one of the spots that I had the formation made. So I'd place that down. Now that building's there, it's there for the whole game. And then we just carry on. The next player will pick a resource and you place that. And you have to place it. You can't say, oh, I don't want that. You have to find a place for it unless you're absolutely full. But once somebody has filled their whole board with buildings or cannot place anything else, then the game is over. And you're just going to add up your points. Now, these buildings all score differently. Some buildings will feed other buildings, and you'd have to have all your buildings fed unless it's like a statue or something. The buildings represent towns and things like that. And then there's certain buildings that'll score for other buildings around it or in a certain shape. But it's a really thinky, puzzly little game. Like, it looks like a really cutesy little easy, kind of, you think it's like I don't know, like a kid's game almost.
It looks like it would be, yeah.
It is not. The funny thing is, I learned this at this little convention in Edmonton. Oh, like probably, it feels like 10 years ago, maybe not quite that long, and we played, there was a whole bunch of us, there was about 7 people, and there was this 7 or 8-year-old playing with us, and he absolutely destroyed us all. And we were all just like, what the heck is going on? And I was like, I don't even know if I had a terrible score. I was like, I don't even know if I really like this game. Not because this 7-year-old beat us, because I was just fascinated with him. But I just thought, I don't even know if this game's for me. And then years later, which ironically is one of the first times I came to your house for a game day.
Yes, actually, I think it was the first time.
Was it? And you had the
second
game, or did I bring it?
No, I had it.
Okay, I was like, I kind of want to play that again. And so we pulled it out. And I don't think it was my first time, because I think it was the first time Ashley came.
Ashley, yeah.
Yeah.
So it would have been your second time, I think.
Yeah, second or third or something. But yeah, and so then we played it, and I was like, oh yeah, I like this game. And I ended up buying it, and I think one of the expansions too. But it's such a neat little game, and it had a lot of buzz when it first came out, but it's not talked about much anymore. But it's a really cool little puzzly one, and it's a perfect solo game too, because you can play it with the cards where you flip over and then you just have to take what the card says. So it makes it more difficult, but you still have to plan. But the neat thing is, like, you think it's easy just placing these buildings down, but once you get, 3 or 4 buildings on your board, then you're constricted to the shapes that you can make, because some of the shapes are like a T or an L or certain things, and once there's buildings on there and you can't make some of those shapes anymore, you can't build those buildings. You also have a what's the pink building called? You have it's a
Monument?
monument, right? And it's like a larger shape, and you can only build it once per game. But and it usually gives you some big points, but it is like kind of a tricky shape. So some people will try to do that at the beginning. Some will, like, not even bother with it and just try to get their own points that way. But it's just a neat thing that's added in, and everyone has a unique one. So the other ones are all everyone can build, but their own monument is strictly for them. But it's a really cool game, and um, it's one that will probably stay in my collection forever, and I love it. And that's Tiny Towns.
Yeah, Tiny Town is good. Great pick. All right. My number 9 is a civilization game. And when I saw that this was on the list of follow mechanism, I was like, okay, good. I am so adding this one. And this is a unlikely civilization game because it's all cards and it's called Innovation. And now they've just redid this one, like, isn't it Innovation Ultimate or something? I think just kind of recently came out. This one here is the copy that I own. So it's a small card game. And you have a bunch of cards that you'll be placing out from 1 to 10. And that's kind of the, like, as you evolve in the different eras, like if you evolve enough, you can go and start accumulating cards with a higher value. So it's kind of how that civilization will work with it. Now, there's also a lot of like multi-use cards version to this, because as you acquire a card, you can kind of decide, like, okay, well, do I want it for the bottom symbols, or do I want it for what it does if you look at the right side, or for what it does if you look at the left side? So I really enjoy the multi-use card game with this one. And some of the action, like when you're activating the action on the card, there's also, like, I forget what they call it, but you can also, like, either activate the other side or the text on the card itself, and they'll say, like, okay, so if you have the most of this symbol, you get to do this thing. And then everybody will compare if you have that symbol. So when you do that action, if somebody else is like, oh yeah, I have, the same amount of symbol as you, they'll get to do that action as well. So then they get to do that follow mechanism in this case. So and then and that's where you get, like, the big, like, it's like a tower, or I don't remember what all this different symbols are, but then you would count all your symbols. Now, as you evolve and acquire new cards, like, so in the beginning, you're going to be starting with the card number 1s, and then eventually you get build up enough that you can go to the cards number 2 and 3 and so on. And then you have all of the cards from 1 to 12 in the middle as well. And I think that's kind of what's going to trigger the end of the game. It's kind of counts as, well, there's achievement cards as well. So there's, like, it has all that civilization, but in the card version. But as you acquire those cards, like, if all of a sudden all the card number 1s are gone and you get to draw card number 1, then you get to draw the next value up that's available. This was a really neat game. It's one that I haven't played in a long time, and I do want to get it back to the table here. Maybe when my brother comes, he would be into this one. But that is the one that has, like, it's not a big, like, oh yeah, you follow all the time. Like, following is part of the mechanism that is part of this game. And that was good enough for me to add to my list. So that is my number 9, Innovation.
Nice. My number 8 is one of the Tiny Epic games, and this is Tiny Epic Galaxies. Now, this one I haven't played in a long time, but I remember I really liked it. And I know that because I don't typically gravitate to space games. So if I own a space game, it has to be basically on mechanics alone because for some reason, they just don't draw
Weird.
me in. But this one is really good. You are, the main thing you're doing in here is like trying to basically have the best galaxy, I guess, like have the most points, obviously. But how you do that is you have these different ships. I'm just gonna get a picture up so I can say
Oh, sorry, I've got it.
proper names.
There we go.
There we go. Yeah, you have this little player board, and you have these different levels of where your spaceships can get to, kind of thing. But you're gonna choose an action on your turn from the dice that you roll, and all the dice have different faces on them, and whatever you choose, you're going to use that dice to do. And if you choose, say you're going to choose, let's see, what's an action to say here? Like, I don't have the proper term.
Because you can launch.
You can launch
one
right?
of your
And then
spaceship. Yeah.
people can follow, but they have to have their now I'm forgetting how that works.
Yeah, you got to spend a proper resource in order to
Yeah,
follow the action
to
you're
follow,
activating.
but they can
Yeah.
do that exact action. So you can actually make on your turn. Other people can have better turns than you on your own turn, and if you're not paying attention, you can really help people win that way. But it's just so neat how you're rolling the dice, and that's gonna limit you to what you can do. But once you build up your spaceships to move up to these higher galaxies, I guess, or like the orbits in the galaxy.
Yeah, it's on the
then
different planets.
yeah, then you're going to get to do better things, and you'll have more power. It's not power, but it's what is the resource they use in here? Do you remember the name of it?
I'm trying to remember, like, because there's 3 resource, but there's culture.
Yeah.
There's economy, and then there's like the energy, I think I want to say.
Energy. Right.
Just because it's like a lightning bolt, so I'm thinking energy. But like you can spend, and I think it's culture. You can spend culture to follow. You can spend your economy to re-roll as well.
Right, because if you don't get what you want to roll.
Yeah. Yeah, neat game though.
Yeah, and I'm sorry I'm not remembering a whole lot about it, but I do remember that part. And when I did play, I think every time I chose something, it was better for the other person. So I kept thinking, okay, I need to play this game again. And it never happened. And you know how sometimes you have these cool little games and you just love them and they get put on the shelf and then you forget about them for a while?
Yes,
But
it happens.
every time you talk about these tiny epics, I'm like, oh, I need to bring this one out again. So I'm definitely going to bring this one out and give it a try again. But yeah, that's my number 8. Tiny Epic Galaxies.
Nice. My number 8 is a game that you taught me, Carla. And it's part of my least favorite of all mechanisms. And that is a roll and write. And you know what? I don't dislike roll and writes. It's just, they're not like, oh, I love roll and write. I don't have that feeling. I will enjoy roll and writes. I don't enjoy all roll and writes, but this one was interesting. And that is, oh, I've got my things written down incorrectly here.
Well, you're on 8.
No, you know what? I'm sorry. This is a wrong one. I got my pictures all messed up because this is maybe later on my list. Let me fix this real quick. And oh no, hold on. Let me bring up. I've lost my mouse. Okay, here it is. So let me fix this real quick. See if I have. You know what? I'm not going to worry about it. But the game that I'm talking about is called Qwinto. And Qwinto is a roll and write where you have 3 colored dice. There's an orange one, a purple one, and I forget which other. Oh, a yellow, an orange, or red, and a purple one. So there's 3 lines. You've got 3 rows that you're going to be putting numbers in, and you have to put numbers in from lowest to highest on each of those rows. And one of those section, instead of a circle where you're going to put a number, it's like an hexagon. I don't know what the shape is. So it's like an hexagon, and those are the numbers you're going to score. So you're trying to get as high numbers as you can there without being so high that you can't maintain the numerical order. Now, where it's interesting is the active player will pick the dice they want to roll. They can roll a single die. They can roll 2. They could roll all 3. And they're going to pick. So let's say I roll a single purple and it's a 2, then everybody's going to need to put the 2 on the purple row somewhere. So you put that in somewhere where you think it's safe to place. You can, if you're not able to play, kind of add them into like your discard area. So you can discard sometimes. Now, if they roll 2 dice, you take the sum of all of those dice and you put them on either of the colored dice they got rolled. And if you do all 3 dice, then you're going to sum up all 3 and then you pick out of the 3 rows where you want to do. So it does have that follow mechanism, but it's really interesting. Be like, oh, I see that you're fairly full in purple, so I'm going to roll just purple. So it's a really interesting game. I really enjoy. I think I lost. I don't remember how I did. I do own this game. I think, did I purchase it from you?
No, I own it too.
You own it too. So I bought it from somebody and you taught it to me. So I do own this game, but it was such a neat and interesting kind of concept of how that all worked with the dice and the rolling. So, and that is my true number 8. I'm glad I wrote it down and didn't just go by the thing here because I didn't put the correct pictures for some reason. I did this presentation late last night. And I was like, oh my God, we're recording tomorrow. I need to get my list together and I need to do the presentation. So it's been so busy this week. But that's my number 8 is Qwinto. This really interesting, neat roll and write.
Cool. All right. My number 7 is Fort. Now, this is just a small box game again, but this one feels like it packs a lot of punch for the tiny box that it's in. It's a little bit, it's not a square one like the Ruins. It's more rectangle, a little bit wider, but it's a little bit flatter than that one. So it's one of those, I think it's a little bit smaller than, say, like Point Salad kind of games, but just a nice little box. Now, what you're doing here is you are kids and you are building up forts and stealing friends from each other and trying to stash your pizza and your toys. And those are the resources in the game. And you have this little player board and your fort token starts on the left side and you're trying to build up your fort to win the game. You have so many spots for toys and so many spots for pizza, and that's all you can store unless you upgrade your fort to be able to hold more resources. But how you play this game is it's a card game, basically. And you have a hand of cards. You all start with 2 best friends, and they all have different suits. And the suits matter because that's how you can follow other people. But you're going to play certain cards and there's actions on each of the cards, and sometimes there's multiple actions. So there might be an action that the active player gets, and then there might be one that everybody gets to do. But you're going to play in suits, and when you play a certain suit and others have that, they can follow with if they have the cards in their hand. Different things will, like, you'll gather resources, you'll build up your fort. You can gather cards. There's different things you can do, but the neat thing is the cards you play go on in front of you, and it's called your yard, I believe. And then at the end of your turn, they stay there. And then as everybody else goes, they can take from your yard. You can take from other people's yards as well. So their friends you can take. I don't think you can take their best friend, though. I can't remember about that, but so then those cards will go to their hand, I believe, because it is a deck builder. Once those cards come back to you and nobody has taken your friends, they go in a discard, and then you have drawn up new cards. it's just a really neat little like it's so unique because I can't even compare it to anything else. Other than the deck building part of it, but the stealing friends is really neat because there's end game points on some of the cards as well. So if you both got to your fort level at the same point in the game, then you will still have to add up points to see who wins the game. But it's neat because you can, some of the cards can give you abilities once you've built them up into your fort. You can and then, like, I think your backpack is in your fort, and that's where you can like store more things. You can what else can you do here? There's a pet expansion where it's like has dogs and cats, and they can help you do things as well. It's really cute, but the art is really neat on this. It feels like the art from Root. I believe it's probably the same artist in this.
That makes sense. Yeah.
It's the cutest version of those games to me. I'm not the biggest fan of Root and all those other games, but this one is the one of theirs that really appealed to me. And that's my number 7, Fort.
Fort. Yeah, that one's cute for sure. It does kind of represent the kids' drama a little bit. So I think that's cool. Wonderful. My number 7 is our first crossover, and that is Tiny Epic Galaxies. So Tiny Epic Galaxies is so cool. And that's why I didn't get it too much to kind of help you too much on you always be talking about it. So in this one, it starts with rolling dice. So you roll the dice. You can roll up to a couple of times to try to get the combination of actions that you want to do. And that's going to dictate all the different actions you can do. So you can launch, and that's where you can send your rocket ship, if they're on your planet, onto another planet. Now, when you go on the planet, you can decide if you want to land on it and activate the ability of that planet, or if you want to orbit the planet. And each planet has like a orbit track. And if you get all the way to the end, you gain that card, you tuck it underneath your main player board, and it becomes a new ability that you can activate when you can activate that particular ability. Which would be another dice action. We all start with a basic action that you can do on your card, but then as you acquire new planet cards, you tuck that in. Now, each planet card also has a value to it that's going to add to your victory points. So that's one thing that you can do. Now, so when the launch, you can go, if you've already landed on a planet, you can send it to another planet or different things like that. Now, when you gain the card back, if there's any things on that, they get sent back to your home planet, basically. Now, you can acquire some resources. And what will happen is if you get like the economic symbol, you get to collect a resource for every planet that you either landed on or an orbit of that is represented by that resource. There's 2 main resources that this is going to happen with, the economic or the culture. And that's how you're going to gain more of those resources. So you have a little kind of token that you're going to move up around the side of your own planet to track of how much of that resource you have. So it could be like, oh, great, I rolled culture, but I'm not on any culture planet, so I can't actually do anything and then collect any of that. Or maybe you're at the max, like, oh, great, well, I've got all that I could use, so I don't want to use anymore. That's not helping me. And so you got those different actions. Now, you can also sacrifice the dice to turn the value of another dice to something that you need to kind of force an action that you're trying to get. It's just going to cost you a lot more dice to do that. But then that's another thing that you can do. But then as people are playing their action, whether it's collecting resource or if it's activating one of those special abilities they have that gives them something that they could do, you'd be like, oh, I want to do that too. And you would spend your culture to copy their action, and then if they do a second action, you're like, ooh, I want to do that as well. So you can spend another culture to do that other action. So this is where you can kind of maximize on other people's turn, but it is costing you some of your resources. So it could be like, oh, I would love to do that, but I'm all out. You can also spend some of these resources to move along the track, because you have your own track, and the further you go into it, the more dice you get to roll, or the more spaceship you get to have on your main board. And it also eventually starts giving you extra victory points as well. Tidy Up a Galaxy is probably one of my favorite game out of this series. It's just so satisfying to play, and it's just so compact, fits great, it's a fun game. And that is my number 7.
Okay, now I'm thinking we have at least 4 crossovers looking at the games. Because I think my next one is going to be one as well.
All right, let's have a look.
Awesome. Okay, so my number 6 is San Juan. So this one is the card game version of Puerto Rico, which you had just talked about recently on either the last
On the previous one,
episode or
yeah.
the one before. And this one, you basically have the same mechanism for the drafting, where you're drafting an action. There is action drafting in this as well. And then whatever action you draft, you're going to get the top thing. Everybody will get the top thing, but as the active player, you're also going to get the bottom action as well. And what you're trying to do is produce all different kinds of resources: indigo, sugar, tobacco, coffee, silver. You might build up some, I think there's monuments. Are they called monuments in this one? Or they're, I think so. Those are the end game point ones. You only have a hand limit of 7. So you're going to manage that, because if you were to choose the production action, and it might say produce, depending what the little tile shows for production, say I got 3 indigo, I would just take cards off the deck and slide them under as my indigo. Like they represent the resources basically. And then the cards also represent your currency. So you need to spend cards to do certain things, and you'll just have to spend them from your hand. Now, the ones you stick under, you can't see what they are. So they might be cards that you really wanted and needed out of the deck, but you don't know what they are. The end game in this one is, I think you build up 12 buildings. That ends the game, I believe.
Mm-hmm. I believe so.
You know, some of the buildings will give you certain in-game player powers kind of thing, and some will be actual victory points at the end. And you just play out until someone has built 12 buildings, and then you will, I think you finish the round probably, and then you're going to add up your points. And it's just like a really neat way of using multi-use cards as well, because they're used in its currency, resources, the actual card, the building that you're playing. It's just a really neat way. And I did play Puerto Rico once. I did enjoy it. But when I found this game, I thought, oh, this does kind of the same thing. The thing I really liked about that game, so I'm in a card version, which I liked. I would still gladly play Puerto Rico again, especially that brand new fancy copy that's coming out. But that one can be more of a meaner game. I feel like this one's a little bit less mean than the big version of the game, but this was the nice card version. And I know this one was, I think this came out of Bianca for a while. I haven't seen it for a long time, but people were, you could get it. I think it was like a $6 or $9 game, and it is so worth it. It's these older games that look just like prototypes. They might not appeal to the people. Like Innovation is another one. It literally looks like a prototype copy, but the mechanisms in these games are so awesome that I can't get a lot of people to play them. I know Mel, you would play them with me, but they will stick around because I just love them. I loved Innovation too. I didn't even think about that one for this list, but it definitely would have made my list. But this is one of those ugly card games that is just awesome. And that's my number 6, San Juan.
Wonderful. Yeah, no, that's a good pick. I did buy my copy from Bianca.
Yeah.
And that was the first game I ever bought, because I was like, okay, I want this game. And I found it secondhand. And you're like, I think it's at this store. And I'm like, tell me more about this store. And then I ended up buying like a dozen games at least. Yeah. But yeah, it was well worth it. All right. My number 6, I'm counting as a crossover, but it's not on your list. And the reason I'm counting it as a crossover is because my number 6 is
Puerto Rico.
Race for the Galaxy, which is basically San Juan. It plays the exact same way. It's just galaxy themed, which apparently doesn't win Carla over. But this game is amazing. It plays exactly the same way. Like Race for the Galaxy, Roll for the Galaxy are same themed. This one plays like San Juan. It is very satisfying to play. It's another one where once you've built 12 cards, triggers the end of the game. You're trying to get these victory points. There's multi-use of what you can do with the cards. And the action selection is so interesting because you'll be like looking, was okay, well, everybody at the same time will pick an action. Then you reveal. And all of what's been revealed is going to be what everybody can do. So you can all follow everybody else's action. However, if you all pick the same thing, that's the only action that gets done this round. So you kind of want to look at, okay, I really think they're going to do that action. So I'm going to pick this other action. So we get to do both. And maybe they're thinking the same thing. So you end up, nobody's doing the one action you were hoping for. So it has some interesting strategies when it comes to the action selection, because of that follow mechanism. But yes, amazing. So if you find San Juan too beige, Race for the Galaxy is not. So you might appreciate that more. But if you're like Carla and you're like, I hate anything space, then definitely go San Juan. But either way, I own both copies. I'm keeping both copies. I love this game. And this is my number 6, Race for the Galaxy.
I have wanted to try this because there's so much hype behind this one. So we'll definitely have to play this one for sure.
There you go.
Yeah. And just for the record, I don't think San Juan is ugly. I actually enjoy beige games.
Yes.
I love the quirky old Euro art. I really like that. But I just say that because most people think that's just a blah, drab game. But I enjoy it. All right. My number 5. What is my number 5 again? Yes, Food Truck Champion. Now this one is, I call it like a mini version of Glory to Rome. Glory to Rome is a game that was been out of print forever, and just that made it become so much more expensive and valuable to the people who have it. But this is just a funner version, I believe. I've never played Glory to Rome, but it kind of has the same feel to it. You're managing your cards and you can place them all over your board. Like you can tuck them on the top, bottom, or side of your player mat. And what you're doing is trying to become the best food truck, obviously. So you have different areas. One of the areas is your fridge, and that's where you can store resources. You're trying to complete these recipes and then kind of be judged on them. And how you do that is you're playing these multiplayer cards again, or like multi-use cards, and you'll play an action, and I'll just go through some of the actions that will help you understand a little better here. There we go. This is I think I even kickstarted this one, but you can do like a driver action that will get you go to the market, and you can acquire things into your fridge, and you only have like so much you can actually hold there until you upgrade that, of course. There's like a prep cook action, which lets you move things from your fridge onto your like recipe card. And the thing is, you're only going to have a couple cards in your hand, so you're only going to be able to do a few actions. But if you do an action and somebody else has that card as well, they're going to get to follow you and do the same thing. So you pay attention, because you can have, everybody can play on everybody's turn, which is so nice. And this was one of the first games that I played of that, where everybody can kind of play off your turn. So there's really not a lot of downtime. But it's just a really neat little game that is basically the mechanics of Glory to Rome, just kind of streamlined a little bit more and made into a fun theme. And I just love it. And I don't know that this one, I didn't check the availability if you can even find this game anymore, but if you ever find this on the secondhand game market, give it a try. That's my number 6, Food Truck Champion.
It looks interesting. I'd
Yeah.
like to try that one.
Have you ever played Glory to Rome?
Wonderful. I don't. I've seen it played.
Yeah.
I have seen it played, but I don't think I was kind of scheduled for something else, so I didn't sit down to play it myself. It's definitely a game that I have heard of before, though. Glory to Rome has a very good reputation. All right, my number 5 is Broom Service. So Broom Service is basically a pick up and deliver game. It's played over 7 rounds, and what's kind of interesting is each on your round you have 10 different action cards, and you're going to pick 4 of those action cards to do. And then on your turn, you're going to pick a card to play, and you can decide if you're going to be brave or if you're going to be, I don't know what the other term is, cowardly, I guess.
Yeah.
And now the brave action definitely is the more robust action. You could do a lot more with it. And then in a lot of games, we'll have like, you get the action, you get the better action. Everybody can do like a smaller version of this. Not with this one. If you pick the brave version, then everybody else who has also selected that action in one of their 4 cards could steal that ability from you, and then they would follow and play their action card then as well. So there's like, okay, so a first player, do I want to do this? Do I not want to play this brave yet? So maybe I'll be cowardly, but then you can kind of follow and do that same action. But if you're like first person, be like, hey, I'm going to be brave. I'm like, and the next person be like, oh yeah, and they get, but then we could all have picked the same one of that action, and it could get, still. So it's really interesting how you play, how this, like the action selection, but the gameplay itself is very interesting. Okay, components are super cool. It's a little cone, but there's a ring around the middle of it that makes it look like a little witch's hat. So it's your little witch meeple piece, and you have this, and you're on broom. I think you're flying around, aren't you?
Yeah.
So you have the map, it has a different section. You're going to go and collect different resources. And then you want to deliver them somewhere else on the map. So it has that pick up and deliver. Then you have those little wooden potion components to it as well. The game is really, really cool. Actually, this is a perfect season to play this as well. We really should play Broom Service soon, with Halloween just around the corner here. But the action selection, I think, is definitely where this game shines, and then being able to kind of steal the robust of the action away from other players, and then kind of pushing your luck with that as well. Really neat game. They did make a card version of it, which I own. I haven't played it, and I think then the whole base of the game is based on that action selection with the card version. So I would like to try that, because honestly, I think that's the best part of the game. Mm-hmm. But that is my number 5, Broom Service.
Yeah, I like Broom Service too. I used to always make all my gaming group play it at Halloween.
Nice. Yeah.
Like, we gotta play it at least once this season. All right, my number 4 is Terraforming Mars Ares Expedition. This is my favorite version of Terraforming Mars. There's 3 right now. The big game, this one is the card version, and then there's the dice version, and now soon to be the they're doing a legacy game of Terraforming Mars.
Oh wow.
Now, I like this one, I think, because of the follow mechanism in it, and that makes it, even if it is a lot longer card game, at least everybody's doing stuff on their turn. Now it's neat because you only have 5 different actions, and you have these little tiles that represent 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 actions, and they're all different colors. And you have the cards in your hand, and you're going to choose one, flip it down. Everybody's choosing an action, then you're going to flip them over, and you're going to see who chose what action. You're hoping that everybody chose different actions than you, because then you're going to get multiple actions. But if other players chose the same action as you, then that's less actions that round. Because if there's 4 of you and 3 of you chose the produce action, you're only going to get to produce once. But you will get the top and bottom action, whereas if you're just a follower, you're only going to get one of, I think it's the bottom action everybody gets. I can't remember on these cards, but and it plays other than that basically the same. You're trying to terraform Mars and raise the temperature, the oxygen and the temperature. You're trying to like flip all the ocean tiles. You aren't doing the milestones like you are in Terraforming Mars. Maybe one of the expansions adds that. I do not have an expansion to this game. But you are managing your resources and your heat production, your plant production, just like you would in Terraforming Mars. And it's a really nice, I have like a player board. I think I did a Kickstarter, so I got the player mats, and they organize everything so nice with your cards. And then your player board is like a dual layer player board that lets you put all your little cubes in there, and they won't fly off or slide around because they have their little slots for them. It's just an awesome engine building game. And again, even though it's Mars and we're talking about, a different planet, it's a little bit more intriguing to me than just a basic space game. But this one for me is awesome. I just love this one. And that's my number 4, Terraforming Mars Ares Expedition.
Wonderful. Great pick. My number 4 is another crossover, and it's also Terraforming Mars Ares Expedition.
No way,
this one is good. Terraforming Mars, I like the big game version of it. I like the Ares Expedition, and I really like the dice version also. All 3 of them I think are really good. They play so differently that they're 3 complete different games, and I own all 3 of them, and I will keep all 3 of them. This one is interesting with the action selection. Definitely has that San Juan kind of feel to it, where or Race for the Galaxy, where you're trying to kind of get multiple different things picked out so that you can do more than one thing on your turn. Lots of cards. It does have that engine building feel that you get from Terraforming Mars as well, which makes it so fun. Also, I want to point out Dized. The app Dized, Dized, has a great tutorial on how to play where it walks you through. So if you're your first time playing it, people were saying how this one makes Terraforming Mars so much faster, and I'm not convinced that this is that much faster than the base game. It's a significant game. Like, it's not like, oh yeah, this is the half-hour version. No, it's going to be more than that.
It's at least an hour. Yeah.
Oh, yeah. For us, and then the first time we played was with the app. Definitely expect a longer turn then. But I mean, it's smooth, and you all playing around the same time, so it feels faster, I guess, in a way. But time-wise for us, maybe, I don't know, maybe we're visiting too much. It didn't feel that much faster. But definitely great game. Definitely having that overlay on your player board so everything doesn't get knocked over, which was a big problem with the base game. It looks good, but it's the same theme. And I guess it's not space-based because you are on a planet. It's just you're on Mars and you're prepping it. So it has a strong nature feel, which is probably why it won Carla over.
Yes.
But yeah, this is there you go. So this is my number 4 crossover with Carla's number 4, Terraforming Mars Ares Expedition.
I'm curious, does the dice version, is there a follow mechanism in that one?
I'd have to refresh. I've only played it the one time, but I remembered I was so impressed with the dice because it's not really rolling the dice. I think you do roll the dice at one point, but it's more like how you manage the placement of the dice and where you it was really neat. Have you not played it?
No.
Oh my God, Carla, we got to play.
I bought it. So what happened was our friend John Pearson was selling it for a ridiculous good price. And I put in our chat, if nobody buys this, I'm going to buy it. And so before anybody responded, I just told him I'll buy it. And then I think Ashley bought it from me. And then you bought it from Ashley. Because I just wanted it in the family. In our board game family. So I will have to play this with you one time.
Yes, I knew it was good.
It hasn't had great reviews, but I mean,
reviews are wrong
still
sometimes.
Knew it would be good. Like, it's one of those where people, they kind of crap on second, third versions
Well,
of games.
and I think that's the thing, right? They
They
want
compare
and
it to
expect it to be like the original so that
Yeah.
they don't appreciate the uniqueness of that particular
Exactly.
version. Yeah. Yeah.
And whereas me and you do, we appreciate the uniqueness out of each game. So, all right. So my number 3. Now this is a different type of game. This is a tile laying game, and this is Caldera
Ooh.
Park. Now I originally had Savannah Park. I think the first version of this game was, and then they came out with this one. This is a Wolfgang Kramer game, which you and I both love him as a designer.
Michael
And
Kiesling, yeah.
yeah, and yeah,
Michael Kiesling, yeah.
But the two of them usually they're awesome.
They work well.
They do. And so with this one, and it's very similar to the first one, but this one adds a little bit more. You are you're not drafting, you're choosing a tile. So you will place, everybody has the same tiles, and you're going to mix them all up and then place them face down, and you're going to flip, looks like 7 tiles on the top of your board. And then you also have these weather tiles, and that you'll shuffle those up and place them face down, and you'll choose one weather tile and you'll start it at the top left weather spot on your board. And then on the active player's turn, they're going to choose, there is a game board, which basically just has the actions on them. And then the animals are shuffled. Actually, no, they're not shuffled. They're just placed at the bottom. And the active player is going to choose one of the animals, and they're going to place it in one of the spots. So it's going to either go like into the mountains, into the forest, the river, or near the waterfall. And then everybody is going to have to choose. So say I chose the bison, and I'm going to put him in the river. I will take one of my tiles from the top that has a bison. I can choose any of them as long as it's there. And then I'm going to put that tile in one of the river slots. Everybody's going to do the same thing. They might have a different bison tile at the top, and they'll take it and place it in the river. And they have to do it. Unless they don't have a bison, they can choose anything, but they'll still have to put it in the river. Now, the neat thing about it is you can... You're trying to build up your own puzzle. So very rarely are you looking at other people and hate drafting, because you really want to optimize your own puzzle. Mm-hmm. So what you're trying to do is you're trying to connect all your animals together, also with watering holes. The watering holes that are connected to each animal are the multipliers of the points. So if I had a whole bunch of bears, and then I had 3 watering holes connected to 8 bears, I'd have 24 points for my bears. If I had, and then say at the bottom I had 3 wolves and 2 watering holes connected to them, I'd have 6 points. Now, the tricky thing is these weather tiles, what they do is they show you tiles that cannot be next to them. So at the beginning, it's easy because you see what tile is there. But if you've already placed some tiles next to the next weather spot that you have not placed a tile, and then you flip that tile and it says you cannot have wolves here, you have to flip all your wolves over that are connected to that. So there is some pusher luck in here, because you're like, I don't know what's going to happen here, but I'm going to try this because it's going to connect everything together, and then you just have to chance it. But it's really, really puzzly and really neat. You score for if you can completely cover like all your forest or mountains. If you can surround all your, what are they called again? I forget what those things are called. Where they blow up out of the ground. What is it called?
Like geysers? Is it water or volcano?
You surround your geysers, if you cover your waterfalls, all different types of basic scoring. And then you're going to count all your animals that you've connected. And you can't connect every animal perfectly. I've tried it just trying to do that without playing the game, and it doesn't work, because some of the animals will have 3 different animals on one tile, and then those animals, like if you try to connect all those, it doesn't work. I tried it, but it is really neat and puzzly, and I really love this one. And that's my number 3, Caldera Park.
Yes, I've played this with you. I forgot about this one when I put my list together, But
Oh
yeah,
yeah.
neat
Melcon,
game.
we
It
played
has
that.
like a Cascadia feel to it, but
Uh,
next level.
yeah, maybe. Yeah, because there's
I guess
more.
theme wise, maybe, but
Yeah, theme wise
yeah,
for sure.
neat. All right, my number 3 is a game that I played with my brother the first time, and it's surprising I like it so much because he did such a terrible job teaching it.
Oh, I know this one.
And this is Earth. So Earth is a tableau building game. There's an engine building component to it too. You're kind of creating this. The action selection is very interesting because whatever action you decide to do, everybody else gets to do a lesser version of that action. But it also kind of determines which card you can activate in your tableau. Now, I never got any green cards the first time I played. I don't know if we didn't shuffle well or whatever. So, and he kept picking that action. And I was like, I don't get to activate anything. So I was way behind. But you'll have cards that you discard. And then you have like your compost pile as well now. And there's values in picking out of it, but there's points in there as well. So it's kind of, do you sacrifice the points to be able, like, is it worth it? There's very interesting decisions that needs to be made. But then you're also got on your card, like, because the tableau building, like, the cards can score depending on what else is going, or the like, they will kind of build off of what else is around. It's like, well, if it's in the same row, if it's below, or different things. So where you place things will matter. And I think it's a 4x4 that you're creating with the cards. But then you can also add, you got to add trunks, and it's like these little wooden pieces. And then you eventually add, I don't know if it's called like the canopy, but you can add the top to it. And if you kind of complete it, that's going to score you more points. And then you have these, I think they're called sprouts, like the little sprout cubes that you can have on the different things, on the different cards as well. It's very strong nature theme, hence probably why Carla likes this one. This suits her so well. So very strong nature theme to it, but it's a really neat, robust game. Like, it's so satisfying. And then, yeah, the whole action selection thing was really cool. So that is my number 3, Earth.
Awesome. My next one, I'm just pulling it up here so I can say proper terms in the game. It's Glass Road. Now, this one was actually remade into a bigger version game called Black Forest, but they took out the following mechanism in Black Forest, and it's more of a worker placement. I enjoy both. Glass Road is the first version, obviously, and how you follow in this game is you are playing cards from your hand, and everybody has the same cards, and you're going to choose just a few of them to play each round, and then you're going to place them in an order of how you're going to play them, and then you're going to flip. And if whatever, say it was I was the active player, I flip and I chose a card that is going to allow me to clear some of my forests and gather wood, I will get to do that. Now, if anybody else had one of those cards in their hand, I believe, they have to flip it and they can do the same thing, but they're not going to get the second action. And then they're going to get less actions, because the more you can play that people don't have the cards, the more actions you're going to get. So you're hoping to do different things again than the other people have chosen. You're going to play the card, but what you're trying to do is build up your little player board with these tiles. And it's basically, depending on what way you want to go for points, you may be building buildings that will give you points or resources. You may be choosing to build a whole bunch of pawns because you have a building that gives you like several points for connected pawns. There's so many ways to go about points in this game. The other neat thing about this game is how you keep track of your resources. It's a resource wheel. Now, he's done this a couple times in his games. I believe this was the first time he did it, but don't quote me on that. But you have these wheels with dials on them. They look kind of like clocks, but they don't, you can't slide the dials around. They move together. So the shorthand and the longhand just move. So you have different resources on there, and then little discs that will tell you how many you have. And you're trying to build up glass, But by doing that, you're spending other resources. And then once the long hand is clear, it'll slide over to the next resource. So you're always going to build some stuff up, but then you'll have less of other things. It's so that part of it is very tricky as well. But the follow mechanism is in the cards. And some people, I think that's why he made Black Forest. Actually, he did say that Black Forest was made before this game. And when it was produced, the producers wanted to change it around and make it a little simpler. So they did the card play in this. But then he ended up just a year or two ago making his actual game that he wanted this to be. And that was Black Forest. But I really like the card play. Some people don't like the idea of the follow and playing cards and chancing. Oh, what is he going to play? What does he need? He's going to want that. So maybe I shouldn't play that card this round. But to me, I love it. And there's a solo version of it that you play these cards and then you flip a card from like a dummy hand to see what is going to match and what they're going to play. And it's pretty lucky, but it still gives you a way to build the puzzle on your own. And I just love the puzzle of it. And that's
nice.
Number 2, Glass Road. Have you played this one, Mel?
I have not. This is one that I know I want to play. Or if I come across it, I probably would just buy it.
Yeah.
I love the dial of it. I have not either.
Oh, okay.
Oh, I need to play more games.
Oh,
There's so many good games out there that I still haven't played. Half your list most of the time. So, all right. My number 2 is another crossover.
Ooh, let me guess. It's got to be Tiny Towns?
It is Tiny Towns.
Oh, yeah.
This is one that every time I play it, I like it more.
Yeah.
And then I play it and then I'm like, oh my God, this is so... Now, I have played with people that hate this game because of the angst that it creates and that it's puzzly. And then, so I've only ever played it where the active player picks resources. Everybody has to take that same resources and adds it to their own tableau. And I was like, I really did not want to have that cube right now. You're messing up my whole thing. And some people hate that. And I must be a glutton for punishment. I like punishing games sometimes. And I was like, okay, we can make this work. Hold on. And then the puzzly aspect of it, because you're trying to create these formation on your board so that you can trade those cubes for that particular building that you're going to add. Now, once the building is in there, they're going to be different buildings every game too. They're going to score differently, or they're going to give you something. Like some was like, okay, great, you have a store, but it doesn't score unless it's energized and you need to have this other building on the same row or columns. Like, well, I don't want this here. I want it there. And then another aspect of it is when you place your building, it has to be on one of the spot where your cube was. So then it's like, well, I really want it there, but I didn't put my cube there because I couldn't go this. Okay, so I'm putting it here instead, and you got to adjust as you play. Then you remove your cubes, you put your building. Now that building's in the way of placing future cubes. So there's that going on. This game has a meanness to it, but it's so puzzly. The whole thing works so well. I absolutely love it. And this is my number 2, Tiny Town, which is a crossover with Carla. I love it. This is a game where you wish you didn't have to follow, but you must.
Yeah. And I forgot to mention in there that the buildings are different every game. Like you choose a color and you pick, I think it's out of 4 or 5 cards, one of those, and then one of the red and one of the, there's only one card that's in every game. I can't remember if it's the statue or the cottage maybe, but everything else is completely different. So every game's going to be different. I know one time I had a building that'll actually hold resources. So if I get one I don't want, I can just stick it on that building kind of thing.
Yeah.
So it's
I guess very unique.
Yeah. So that it changes. I love games that will like completely change the game every time you play it so that it feels like a new game. Yeah, good choice. So that is 3 crossovers so far. And now is our 4th. And then maybe your first one might be our 5th. But this is our 4th crossover. Do you know what mine is? Well, you know
I do. I do.
It's Earth. Of course, Earth is my number one on here. I love this game so much. Um, and it was a slow burn. This one, when I first played it, I was like, okay, it's okay. And then as I played it more, I just fell in love more and more with it, and I absolutely love it. I have the seed abundance. I think it's called abundance expansion, and it adds a seed to it, which is a really powerful thing in the game, and it's such a neat mechanic that it adds to it. I got the upgraded resort. Yeah, I guess resources, but they're basically like the actual trees, and it is like overkill. This like almost even too much for me. Like you have to have another box just for these resources. Like there's no way they would fit in the game. But they're these big chunky like tree toppers and middles, and like everything is huge. And I think I've if you look on Discord, I had put tons of pictures in there of when I played it, but it's like absolutely ridiculous how much they blinged out just the little trees, and the wooden trees are just perfect. Like if I were to do it again, I don't even know if I would have upgraded these resources because I really loved the wood look of the trees and the tree toppers and stuff, or the whatever they're. I call them trees. They're not trees because you're building all different kinds of things, but they just come in like certain colors, and I love the color palette in this game. It's just really awesome, and just the engine building and just multiple like endless possibilities that could happen in this game, and how everybody gets to play at the same time and basically run through their board every time they do an action, because if you choose yellow action, everybody gets to follow, and then they do all their yellow actions on their board. So there's a lot going on, and you're constantly doing so many things in this game, and I just love it. And yeah, that's my number one, Earth.
Yeah, so far, Earth would be our fourth crossover, fifth if you count send one to Race for the Galaxy, right. Which I do. So 5 that might have been the most crossovers we've had in a list so far. And I'm bringing that up now because my number one is not a crossover. And my number one is Ceylon.
Oh, yeah.
I don't know why, but I ridiculously like this game. After my first play of this, I was like in love. I thought this was like the best play ever, and it was so good. And I adore this game. And this is, I think, one of those games that you can get at Bianca Amor, or I got at Bianca Amor.
Yeah, I don't know if you still can, but it was a $9 game. Yeah.
Oh my God, it's worth so much more. This game is fantastic. Now, Ceylon is now called Sri Lanka, and they used to be all about coffee, and there was a really bad type of disease that went through all of their coffee plantation, and they're about to go into financial ruin as a country. So they had to act quick, and they switched to tea, and they created a kind of like changed everything into making tea. Now with this one, and this board is very interesting because you got these 4 different segments on the map, and you're going to be adding these different tiles that creates these different level, and depending on which level your tea plantation is, the type of tea that it's going to create, whether it's going to be a black tea or green tea, a white tea, and so on. And you're going to be building these plantations, trying to have like on different levels to have access to the different type of tea, and then trying to generate these teas so that you can get these different contracts and provide the contracts, which is going to give you points. And it also has like, as you build plantation, you're taking these tokens, like it's like a tea leaf token off of your player board onto the map, and the more you remove, the more room you have to take on new contracts of different like it has different color combinations, and so you're wanting to place these out so that you can get access to more that you can put on your own player board. And now that whole thing already is great, But what's even better, like, and you have, like, there's more to, like, there's so much more to this game because each segment has like a different governor that you're trying to appeal to. And if you do, then you get access to this new ability that you can utilize. You also have like this technology track you're trying to go up on. But what's fun about this one is the action selection. You have cards. The card has two, like an upper action, a lower action. There's like the thing in the middle that you can always get to do. Now you're going to decide, okay, what do I want to do? I want to harvest, or I want to put a plantation, or I want to, whatever you want to do. So I'm going to do this one. Now, whatever you place on the action pile to discard the cards. So I'm doing this action here. Everybody else gets to do the other action you didn't pick. So like, oh, I want to do this action. Well, I'm not letting them do this. Hold on. What else do I got? So I'm going to go through. Oh, good. I have it here again. I don't mind if they do this, right? Like you're trying to do so that you're helping yourself more than you're helping others. And then when you are doing the harvesting action, you can harvest out of all the plantation that you're near. But it's because you have like your person moving on the map as well. But from my understanding, if I'm remembering it correctly, you can harvest from the plantation you're near, whether it's your own or not. Yeah. And then you can kind of do all of that as well. This game, I don't know, this game is special. It is so good.
And it plays quick too.
Like it's I have nothing bad to say about this game. This game is brilliant. I absolutely love it. It makes my list all the time. I don't know why everybody's not gushing over it like I am either.
It ended up being a $9 game because it's awesome.
You know what? Is it too bad? Yeah, sure, it's too bad. I'm glad I got to get it for $9. And it's one of those games like at $9, you could buy a bunch and then gift it to everybody because they all need to play this game. Absolutely love it. And that is my number one, Ceylon. One of the best game I've ever played.
Yeah, that's a good choice. I didn't even consider that one for this list either, but good, really good choice. Very nice game. Yeah, it feels like a crunchy Euro in like less than an hour.
It's so good. It's so good. So good. But yeah, so that was our top 9 following games. Now, we had a chit chat at the beginning of, before we recorded, kind of last minute. Okay, quick, what should we pick for our next topic? Now, right now in Alberta, our teachers on strike. Have been on strike for, is it 2 weeks now? 3?
Oh, no, it's 3. It's going on. This next week will be a month, I think.
Oh, okay. So it's going on a month. My stepdaughter is missing school like crazy. And it's getting to the point where it's going to be affecting the students. They may have to redo the semester. So it's very unfortunate. But yeah, so the whole strike's going on. Hopefully they come to resolution very quickly. Mm-hmm. But we figured let's do our top 9 educational games since there's a lack of right now. So our next list, we're going to be doing top 9 educational game. Now, whether that is, we haven't really talked about what that means. To me, it's like something that you get some really good kind of tangible value or knowledge out of the game that you play.
Or if it would help out with, kind of their curriculum. But like we'd have to, I think it would be a game, we explain it and say this would help towards, what certain subject or what certain skill they would learn in school.
Sure.
Kind of thing.
Yeah, perfect. I think we're on the same page here.
Yeah.
Wonderful. So now before we call it quits here for today, Carla, where can we find you?
You can find me on Instagram. I'm at boardgamespecialist, all one word, and I have a Facebook page called Red Deer Board Game Fanatics. What about you?
So first, before I talk about that, be sure to check out our Discord channel. Actually, people were chatting on there today, and I was chatting a little bit while we were recording this as well. So be sure to check out our Discord channel. It's been really entertaining. People are showing the different games. While I've been like on a game freeze lately, it's carried me through. What is everybody playing on there? So be sure to join that. Now you can find me on Instagram at Mel's_boardgame_room. I also have a Facebook page called Mel's Board Game Room, and my YouTube channel is called Mel's Board Game Room. So thank you
Awesome.
so much for tuning in, and we will see you at the next episode.
Bye for now. Thanks for listening.
If you wanna stay with me, if you wanna try, maybe you could be